How am I gonna do this?
It's recording.
Take off the sunglasses, cool guy.
It's very bright out here, man. I'm starting my backyard skate-topia officially today. I'm in Long Beach, California. I'm about to walk into Keene Ramps. I'm about to buy a 4-foot tall by 12-foot wide mini ramp. I am gonna go with the option to add skate light on top of the ramp just to like weatherproof the crap out of it. I wanna be able to get the most out of this ramp for the longest amount of time that I possibly can before having to maintain it or spend even more money on it. Well, that was easy. Purchasing the ramp from Keene was probably the easiest walkthrough process I could have ever asked for. Now I just gotta like go home and prep the backyard for this big ramp that I'm so stoked I can finally own. Not gonna lie, being able to finally just walk into a building and purchase a mini ramp and walk out felt really good. Especially at this point in my life, because I just moved to Missouri and there's not a lot to skate like directly in the area where I live. So my goal was to have this ramp set up and skatable within a month of me moving here. And Keene Ramps really did make the buying process the easiest part of putting a ramp up. But what was coming next, the setup, the whole prepping the yard for the ramp's arrival, that was by far the hardest part of this entire process. For very obvious reasons, you're going to need to put this thing on top of level ground. And where I live now, our backyard is not level. It's actually slightly downhill. And we do get a lot of weather, a lot of different kinds of weather. And when it rains here, it really pours. And after speaking to the guys at Keene Ramps for a little bit, the best way to solve this problem for me was to make a raised platform out of cinder blocks. So the ramp's frame itself, it's just built out of 2x4s. And the plan is that anywhere where two 2x4s intersect in the base frame of the ramp, that would just rest on top of a cinder block. But at the same time, all of these cinder blocks have to be level. And it definitely sounds a lot easier than it is because this was super hard to do. I did not have any sort of professional equipment to help us like level these cinder blocks or anything like that. In fact, all I had was 2 garden beds that were made out of cinder blocks. They were filled with dirt, a shovel, an actual hand level, pieces of wood, and my girlfriend, Katie. So really, really big shout out and thank you to Katie, because without her help, this would not have gotten done. And we took apart those 2 garden beds. We used all of the dirt that filled both of those garden beds. We used most of the cinder blocks, and we were sitting there for 3 days, just with shovels, moving dirt over, resting cinder blocks on top of it, patting it down, taking pieces of wood and like connecting the cinder blocks and putting the hand level on top, all different directions, making sure it's level. It was absolutely crazy. Like we were like 2 prehistoric cavemen trying to do this with like, it could have been so easy if we had like professional equipment to do this with, but we didn't. But on the bright side, like after those 3 long days when we like got to turn around and look at it and go at it with the level and the measurements again and be like, holy crap, like we did it. It's completely level and like we did it ourselves. That was like a really, really rewarding thing for both of us. We were super stoked on that. And thankfully, we actually got our like platform leveled and all ready to go exactly a week before the ramp got delivered. And I've never gotten anything delivered on like an 18-wheeler freight truck like that before. But the company that was delivering it really made things super easy. They actually called me a whole 7 days before they arrived. I got to speak to the driver. He let me know that he would call me when he's 30 minutes out. He gave me a date and a time. He even like asked, you know, is there a specific place I could pull up? Like, what's the best place for me to pull up to? Can I pull into your driveway? And he let me know like there's gonna be 2 pallets. And one of the pallets he was able to lift up with his forklift, which was super helpful. We just got to unload it nice and easy. But the other pallet was so big, he couldn't get it on his forklift. So we had to unload that one by hand. And he actually let me know that when he called me previously to delivering. So I was able to call my friend Bobby and have him help me unload the whole thing. The ramp comes with assembly instructions. So once we got everything unloaded, me and Bobby just started screwing 2x4s together, getting the frame of the ramp set up and ready to be moved onto the platform. So yeah, I could have went to a lumberyard and bought a bunch of wood and started to build the ramp from scratch by myself. And that might have saved me a little bit of money here and there, but it definitely would not have saved me time. When you purchase a mini ramp from a company like Keen, they pre-cut and pre-drill all of the wood to the exact dimensions that you need everything at, so that by the time you get the ramp, all you have to do is put screws and holes and put the ramp together like it's a giant Lego kit. So for me, buying the ramp pre-cut and pre-drilled from a company like Keen, that just made the most sense for me with my time frame and my goal of getting this ramp rideable as soon as possible. So once we got everything unloaded off the truck, I'd say it probably took me and Bobby about 5 hours total to put the frame of the ramp together, put the layers of plywood on there, put the finishing layer of skate light on top. Roughly about 5 hours, the whole process, start to finish. But shortly after that came the best part. You know, the part where I got to skate it and continue to get to skate this ramp every day, multiple times a day, whenever I want, really. It's pretty sweet. So all in all, if we are including shipping and precautionary measures that aren't required, but will definitely help extend the lifetime of the ramp, this ramp cost about $8,300. And I did spend a little bit extra on certain things. For instance, I coated all of the wood in a weatherproofing paint and primer. I actually bought a tarp for the thing, so when winter gets really harsh, I can cover it like it's a swimming pool. And some people will even tell you like, oh, you don't technically need skate light to have a ramp, which you don't, but skate light is a weatherproofing surface and it gives you that smooth ride. I don't really see a reason not to get it, other than it's just an additional cost. Granted, like those precautionary measures, you don't have to go spending the extra money on those. I just thought like, hey man, I'm already spending so much on this thing already. I might as well spend the extra just to make the ramp last longer. And anytime you own a ramp, eventually you are gonna have to end up doing some maintenance, whether it's like replacing some 2x4s or a sheet of plywood here and there. Just taking the extra time at the beginning to coat everything in that weatherproofing paint, even that can help so much more than you think. So if you are watching this and you've been thinking about getting a ramp in your backyard or starting to build one yourself, honestly, do it. This was one of the best decisions I've made in a while. And I skate the crap out of this thing, man. I come out here for a session at least twice a day, every day, and it still has not gotten boring. If anything, the only thing I would have changed during this entire process was it's 4 feet high by 12 feet wide. If anything, I wish I would have went like 20 feet wide so I could just grind for longer. And if you made it to the end of this episode, I do still upload weekly, so hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and go outside and go skateboard. I'll see you guys on the next upload.